Back with our British campaign, our new one, where we have inherited a kind of an uneven fleet, both in terms of design and numbers. The good news is that our most numerous classes, the battleships and armored cruisers, are the least bad of the auto-gen designs that we inherited. The Battlecruiser is fairly well armed, but is awfully slow. It's very suboptimal, but we only have one ship there, so that can tolerate that. The destroyers are serviceable, um, and so that's okay for the moment. But the light cruiser design, it's basically unarmed. No torpedoes, only three guns. There's three. Not even three multi-barrel turrets. Three single gun turrets. So this is the most glaring hole in our composition. Luckily, we don't have too many of an absolutely terrible design, and our first priority for shipbuilding is we not the Hermes. That was a prototype. That was the initial submission from that shipyard. But the Nottingham class coming online. Its main armament is 7-inch. It's got a few 2 inches as well. It is not that much more heavily armed than its predecessor, but it does at least have a forward and aft main armament. And the few secondaries it does have are, at least there's more than just two turrets. And it does have a torpedo capability. So, of the various choices we had, this is the one I went with. It's lightly armed, but it's much better than the predecessor. Okay, and we are building 8 of these. It was the Portsmouth dockyard that won the bid, and so we got 8 of these things being built in Portsmouth. The first 2 have commenced, and then every couple of months I'm going to add another pair so that they come into service at a staggered rate, and our crew pool can keep up with manning those ships. That's what's going on with the fleet. We'll go through a couple of battles, see what kinds of ships the German Navy has built, and that may inform some more decisions on additional ship classes. But for now, and also one thing I had forgotten to do at the end of the last episode was showing a huge deficit because I had the tech budget fully maxed. Just to look at the research tree, there was nothing compelling there that warranted short-term expenditure to pick up quickly. So I zeroed it out, and we have almost a 20 million per month balance. And that will get eaten into as we start undergoing some ship repairs and also as we start construction on more of those Nottinghams. And that's where we're at. We have 37 ships. The Germans have 46 ships. However, we have a huge superiority in battleships, 10 to their 5. A total of 11 capital ships to the Germans' 8. So even though we have fewer ships, the tonnage of the 2 ships is probably slightly in Britain's favor. And let's see what happens in February. Well, the armored cruiser Cochrane is being ambushed by a whole passel of German destroyers. If these destroyers are relatively slow, Cochrane's got a chance. Because Cochrane's like 27 knots. As long as these destroyers are maybe 30 knots or below, she'll be okay. If they're faster than that, probably going to get swarmed inside. Let's see what happens. Yeah, even the AI wants to just turn around and go. Smoke is to the west, which means we want to go east. And that's not necessarily just a runaway situation, although if I can, I probably will. But also, if they close on us, that will greatly slow down the closure rate. And hopefully, as they catch up to me, the Cochrane can deal with them, can shoot, slow down the leaders where they fall out of line and don't get a torpedo firing solution. But if I just charge into them and, let them, engage in a knife fight, she's just going to take a bunch of torpedoes. That's about all there is to it. I'm not going to play into the destroyer's hands, even if this means it's a boring battle. And unfortunately, I'm not smart enough at this YouTube stuff to be able to edit the boring bits out. I know it's probably pretty easy in OBS or whatever, but so the time compression is staying on ×10. It hasn't dropped to ×5. That means they haven't spotted me either. They're smaller. Cochrane has a bigger signature, so they will see me earlier than I can see them, under any kind of conditions at any range. As soon as they do, that time compression will drop. It hasn't yet, so they haven't even spotted. That probably means that either they respond way far away. Oh, okay, now they've spotted me now, and they've started shooting. The lead ship has, anyway. That is not a huge threat. It's the torpedoes. See up there, you get these little ship silhouettes. These are unspotted, but this means that there are 3 separate destroyer divisions, which seems about right with the number of German destroyers we saw in the initial order of battle. It's probably 2 divisions of 4 and 1 division of, I forget the exact number, 2, 3, or 4 destroyers. Once they get spotted, we'll be able to expand these to look at individual ships. And they're German, so they won't have actual names. It'll be like V1, V2, V3. The Germans did not give proper names to their destroyers and below. Okay. As long as they can see us and can shoot at us, this battle will not end. So we're not going to time out. And I don't want to sit here for 3 hours of gameplay. Just spotted. Yeah, I was going to say I was going to slow down so I can shoot back. They are faster than us, obviously. Pretty soon we'll know how much faster. Obviously, we want that guy to get damaged first. There's fire coming from over here too, so there's another destroyer coming up on the starboard quarter at some point. Eight inches, 5 inches, and 4 inch, and 3 inch guns being brought to bear. very effectively, it would seem. We're not going to get the kinds of accuracies that we saw in the last campaign with player-designed ships. These auto-generated ships just aren't going to be as accurate. There's some weight imbalances, there's pitch and roll. The AI is, or the auto-generator is more tolerant of that stuff than a player typically is. So the ships are not as stable as gun platforms. That's the V5. 4-inch guns, 3-inch guns, 2-inch guns. Looks like the forward one is mounted forward because that's the one that's actually firing. Two torpedo launchers with increased ammo torque. So there's several different. He's got reloads. Okay, one destroyer sent to the back. Time to fire on the V4. Slow him down. The accuracy's not good, but it's further dropped obviously by the smoke screen. It was as soon as those smoke screens cleared and the accuracy came up a little bit that we were able to pop the V5. Hopefully soon we do the same to V4. Looks like a pretty good hit. Not enough. This is armor. 0.7 inches all the way, which is about half. I think the max you can armor a destroyer is 1.5 inches. So not as armored as he could. Okay, good. V4 sent packing. Next. V6. Wasn't actually going slow, just time compression went down. Back up to ×5. Not liking how close V11 is getting. He could actually turn real quick and then send torps after us. Okay, V6 has been at least temporarily disabled. Sent to the rear. Switch fire. For V11 to get some attention. Boom! How do you like that, V11? Yeah, he slowed down to below 20 knots. He's not exactly giving up like the others did, but he's slowing. Slowing to something slower than us. He's taking very little damage. Looks like we've got light damage to the forward tower, and one of our upper level is probably a 2-inch gun. It's been taken out. Not a big deal. Okay. V8. It's almost bow on. And V11 has still got a little bit of water, but other than that, she's dealt with her issues. It's back up to 26.9 knots. She hasn't been fully dealt with. We'll have to give her some attention again here soon. Smoking. 1.82%. Fire on V2 just because we're slightly more likely to hit her. And with that angle, there may be a few guns along the sides, secondaries, that are able to fire that cannot fire on V8. These are 1,091 ton destroyers, 32.1 top speed, 4s, 3s, and 2s. And torpedoes. Oops. Torpedoes are fast propulsion. Which means they're faster. Because of that, they give up some range, though, and they have a 4-kilometer torpedo range, whereas standard would be 6 kilometers. If they get close enough to pickle off, they're that much harder to dodge because of their speed. And standard bulkheads. Not doing such a hot job disabling V2. Come on, Cochrane. And it's the start of the war, so we are cadet level proficiency, but so are all the Germans. Everybody starts at cadet. Well, that's why we bumped up the crew training. There's some flooding, that'll slow her down. V2, where is V2? Slowed to 22.6. Popped her again. There's some engine damage. Should make her turn around and head to the back. Maybe. Fire too. Down to 4 knots. Okay. We need to take out Victor 8. She's well within torp release range. She just says, so it's not about the range anymore, it's about the angle. Can she get a good solution? Hopefully we disable her before she's able to achieve that. Boom. That looks pretty good. Yeah. Double engine casualty. There's 3 icons. Those little engine icons. That doesn't mean 1 engine, 2 engine, 3 engine. You know, not every ship doesn't have 3 engines, or even most probably. Just 1 is light engine damage, 2 is moderate, and 3 is heavy propulsion capacity. So these are, you know, they can. Some ships can still go somewhat pretty fast with 1 engine out like that. But if they've got 2 or 3 propulsion icons there, they're slowed down a lot. How about V7? Not only okay, they're outside torpedo range. I think we're almost clear. The only visible target. I think everyone else is buggered off. And we can no longer see them. What is the weather conditions? Clear, calm. Morning. Generally pretty good conditions. Which helped. If this had been night in rainy weather, man, they could have been right up on me very close before I could even spot them. And we have weathered the ambush, and I am not going to turn around to go try to kill any of them. So, successfully avoided. Did enough damage. We got a few victory points. It was a victory for Britain, a small one. But a victory nonetheless. Okay. That battle, the way it popped up at the beginning of the month, that was forced. Had to fight that. We have 2 other battles in the offing. Out here in the North Atlantic, we have Battlecruiser against Battlecruiser. Okay. And we are attacking a German convoy, 3 of our heavies against a large convoy defended by a Battlecruiser. I wasn't terribly happy with our Battlecruiser design, but yet here she is in battle. We'll get a chance to see what the German Battlecruisers look like, and if Achilles happens to come out the worse here, it won't be a huge disaster. I don't really like that design anyway. It's almost certain she will not be able to disengage because this is an unusually slow battlecruiser at 23 knot. So her 12-inch and 10-inch guns better get the job done. I'm going to turn because I want to get this armor belt angled a little bit, not completely flat. I'm going to try to angle it such that It's not flat, but my rear turrets still have are still in their firing arc, and this there's 5 turrets, and this second turret is also blocked in the forward. There's a cutout here, so she can only fire to the side as well. It's almost like a rear turret. Okay, it's a pretty nice hit. Got hit with a 12-inch shell there. How's that feel? We're already up to 28% accuracy on this main battery. It's not terrible. I think I turned too far and I've cut out the after turrets. Let's go back a little bit. I'm going to speed up time. Got a bunch of hits, but they were all ricochets. He's angled better than I am. Let's destroy his main gun. Pause for a second. Let's take a good look at the stats on the German Battlecruiser. Okay, this boats pretty well already. For one thing, their battlecruiser is equally slow. It's also 23 knots. And its main armament is 10-inch, no 12s. So it's undergunned compared to us. It does have max bulkheads. It won't flood that easily. It's about the same tonnage. I don't remember the exact numbers, but ballpark. They're within 1,000 tons of each other. 10-inch. It's 7 turrets of 10-inch. Dual mounts. 1 7-inch turret. A whole bunch of 4-inch casemate guns. Looks like about 12 of them. And then just a few little 2-inch. That's pretty inconsequential. And it does not have torpedoes, which is good news. Because sometimes the AI will arm battleships and battlecruisers with torpedoes. And let's see, what have we done here? We've taken out one of the 10-inch turrets already, and we've taken out the funnel. Damaging a funnel like that won't directly affect its current speed. However, if they do slow down later, and then it'll funnel damage decreases acceleration, so they'll find it harder to get back up to a higher speed. All right. Well, I wasn't terribly impressed with Battlecruiser's design. However, it stacks up pretty well against the Germans. The relative value of this design has kind of gone up with our current fleet composition. Which in turn means I did not intend to build but now I'm dead. broadside to him. Okay, so I'm going to open range a little bit, get it to where I can angle a little better. Increasing distance favors our 12-inch versus his 10-inch. We're so close right now, and north it's all going to pan. Better to get some damage from HE. Ow! Oh my gosh, that flashfire. This guy. We're not going to run away with that amount of propulsion. My only hope is that we can kind of hold the fort on flooding and structure. Ventures catch up on their damage. We're at 10 knots. Not much faster, it's 1.3. The main reason I don't want to turn and run is because the flash fire was aft. It's that main aft turret that's out. I wouldn't even be firing back at all. And why can't rudder's out? Okay. Accidentally changed rudder's. Back to auto. Okay, get caught up there. I don't know. Structure's actually a little bit lower, but I'm about to flood out. See, I've got the siege list and the guns are still firing. The game doesn't count. The sloping deck like that. Guns still fire, Furies and theirs. There's another flash fire. Oh my goodness. Oh! Oh! Go! You might go! Ah! Get out, please. Oh my goodness. By the skin of our teeth. Good job, Achilles, I guess. a little over 3,000 victory points versus 124. And probably about 20 to 30 seconds away from that being a dual kill on both sides. Dealt 7.8k damage to receiving 4.4. I think it was closer than that. When you get the flash fires like that, I'm not sure that the flash fire damage counts for the enemy's credit, right? He shoots, does X amount of damage, he gets credit for that, but then if it sets off a flash fire, I don't think he gets credit for the flash fire damage. That's almost like a self-inflicted wound from a shitty design. We did have much better main gun accuracy, and that's, you know, I don't know what the relative towers and components are, but the 12-inch gun is inherently a more accurate gun than the 10-inch. Even before you put them on the ships. That's probably largely why. Well, we also did better for secondary accuracy as well. So maybe we've got better rangefinder and tower. Or maybe the Achilles is simply just a little bit more stable than the Arminius maybe. Achilles picked up some XP for her crew in addition to what she gets from crew training. Maybe she'll be green instead of cadets next time. Which is going to be a while, because with that damage, she's going to be in the shipyard costing us money for a long time. All right. I think that will do for this episode, and next time we'll see how our armored cruisers make out with the convoy. Which, oh, by the way, is defended by a battlecruiser. Now that we know that the German battlecruiser rocks 10-inch guns, not 11s, 12s, or 13s, that's a good sign. That does not mean that our armored cruisers will be able to take it on directly, but it does mean that they may be a little bit more survivable while they're taking out their merchants. We will find out in the next episode.